Petition 1880 to introduce awareness and practical experience of litter picking and waste separation into the school curriculum. This has been lodged by Callum Edmonds, Susanna Zanata and Tanith Diggory of Clean Up Scotland. And it calls on the Scottish Government to urge the Scottish Parliament to urge the Scottish Government to make an appropriate level of daily cleaning part of the curriculum in schools, including litter picking and waste separation. In her submission, the Cabinet Secretary for Education Skills explains that the Scottish Government is committed to increasing the prevalence of learning for sustainability within the curriculum, and she states that the Scottish Government supports the ultimate aim behind the petition. It believes, however, that individual schools should determine the precise content of their curriculum and how it is applied to the timetable at school level. Although the Scottish Government would prefer to avoid excessive prescription, the Cabinet Secretary states her intention to share details of the petition as well as her response with Education Scotland and Keep Scotland Beautiful to ensure the issues highlighted are taken into account. And she will do that in the context of exploring the current programme on litter and waste management to see what within it can thereafter be strengthened. So I think the Cabinet Secretary is quite keen to take forward the sentiments of the petition. Do any colleagues have any comments? Bill Kidd.
Thank you very much, Convener. I, having been on litter picking movements before, actually, in fact, quite recently, I am perfectly aware that a lot of people of all ages, not just children, are throwing litter down, and people will come up and congratulate you and thank you for doing a litter pick, and then you go back to the same area again a week later and it's covered again in litter. So somebody's doing it. I don't know who it is. I do think, though, that the best way to approach this is actually to increase the awareness of the damage to the community, their own community of children through litter. And I think there's something to be taken out of this. I do understand that it's been suggested that a 12-week public consultation is scheduled to take place by the end of the year, and a refreshed strategy will be published early in 2022. I hope that that is going to include such as those who have actually petitioned us here in order to develop that strategy, and I would like that to be suggested to the Scottish Government.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to comment? So, Paul Sweeney.
I think, Chair, it might be useful, whilst I agree with the Scottish Government's broad intent, I think identifying areas of where schools are actually undertaking very good practical application of teaching could be useful to identify and then share with the broader education bodies in Scotland, because I think there are pockets of very good teaching in schools. There's a particular school in Easterhouse that does a project called Nae Straw at All, and it's all about a sort of the whole school's engaged in it. It's incredible. It's actually an incredibly inspirational exercise. So I think there's examples in Scotland where really good work's being done, and perhaps those should be identified and shared with or try to transplant the ideas of what they're doing more widely. And I wasn't convinced that the government's ambition was as enthusiastic about doing that as it might otherwise have been.
Well, given the way in which the government is approaching it and the detailed schedule of actions and the fact that they are going to share the details of the petition and the government's response, I mean, I am minded to close the petition. It does seem to me that, that is a package of actions in place. But I agree there are two actions we could take from that. One, I think we could ask the Scottish Government in developing that consultation whether it would be possible to consult with or potentially utilise the petitioners themselves, since they obviously are an organised, interested party. And I think it would be useful to pick up Paul Sweeney's suggestion as well about the best practice and giving that more of a focus, and to do that with the appropriate level of enthusiasm and zest of enthusiasm. But beyond that, I think that given that the government are going to share the petition and are taking forward many of the aims that are within it, I'm minded to close the petition itself. Paul Sweeney?
Just to say for the record, the school I referred to is the Sunnyside School of Conservation. So it's a specialised curriculum that they have developed, and I think it'd be well worth the government taking action to try and benchmark against that.
Which can we draw to their attention?